silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kicking It Back with Matt on the Bleacher Brothers Network. Tonight we're kicking it with my main man Henry, my main man John. Boys, how we doing?
Pretty good.
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
That's the reaction I get when tomorrow we kick off our title defense.
You guys,
Boys.
Oh, don't worry. I got plenty to talk about.
Right here.
It's not going to stay quiet for long, my man.
All right, man. Well, let's kick it. Let's go. So I'm going to be at MJ's tomorrow. Henry, you going to be there?
Actually, me and John are actually going to be celebrating his week starting off because his birthday's coming up to go play some footy golf. We'll start that off right there because it just seems right to start that off from the beginning of the Premier League season anyway. So we're like, yeah, let's go play some footy when we're going to go watch some footy later. Just seems right.
Yeah, we usually end up there's a Buffalo Wild Wings right by the course that we play at, so we'll end up there, start roping people in, see if we can convert some new Liverpool fans.
Where are you guys playing footy golf?
It's called Pine Brook Golf Course. It's one of the municipal courses in Manalapan. They got an 18-hole setup there. We're there pretty much every other week, but it's just a great day out. Get a little sun, a little exercise, get to kick a ball around. Doesn't get much better.
All right, so let's get into it. I'm a little bit nervous right now. I saw these Konate rumors today with that stuff lingering around. I feel like we've got little depth at the center back position. I know we're working on these two signings, but I don't like all this chatter going into our title defense. So I'm a little bit nervous. Forget about Isak. Let's shore up that back line.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, the Italian kid that they just signed, I know he's 18, he's raw, but I went back and I watched some of his games, and I mean, the talent is there. He passes the eye test. Specifically, I can think of one of the highlights I watched was the game against Napoli. And he had Lukaku in his pocket the entire game. And for an 18-year-old to go up against arguably one of the strongest forwards out there in footy, and to handle him the way he did, like you can see why there's excitement around him. So that does alleviate a little concern, but I think the Community Shield really exposed some of the issues in the back line.
Yeah, that's what's got me nervous. And listen, Bournemouth is no pushover or slouch. They finished 9th in the table last season.
Now, to be fair, I do think Crystal Palace is going to give a lot of teams issues this year. And I would not be surprised if they end up having a big say in who finishes top 4 and who wins the title. It could really come down to how you play against Crystal Palace, because they showed that front 3, they can hang with anyone. So if they play practical, good defense, that front 3 keeps scoring. As long as they don't lose any of those guys in the last couple weeks. But yeah, I'm excited for Crystal Palace this year.
You think they're a sleeper?
I definitely have them probably higher than most. Again, it all comes down to if $100 million bid comes in for Eze, completely changes the picture. But I think they showed in the Community Shield, they can get at, the Premier League champions. They can get after them. So yeah, if you fall asleep, they've always been one of those teams that if you fall asleep on them, I mean, Henry will remember. We've had some Crystal Palace games that have really bitten Liverpool in the backside.
Yeah. And a couple of times where they actually helped us too, like you said. You know, a lot of teams. I mean, look at City. I don't know what it is about them in City too. You realize that in the last
Yeah.
few seasons, it's just always Crystal Palace and City for some odd reason. It's just like a little thorn in their foot. And honestly, they did put on a lot of pressure for us. It did solidify with like, yeah, I do want Gehi 100. I do want him. Like, yeah, the one, yeah, dude, come over here, dude. Like you were a pain, and now it's like, but that's a good one because that's the dude that we want. So I'm like, absolutely, let's go grab him right now.
So,
That would
John,
be the ideal pairing. If you could pair him with, you got the young Italian kid coming in at 18. Gay, I believe, is 24. There's your successor for Virgil. You get them in, lock them down to 5-year deals, and you don't have, maybe losing Konate to Real Madrid doesn't hurt as much. Now, I do really hope that the rumors that they're trying to get a new contract with Konate
Heard that
is
too.
in place, so at least, unlike Trent, we'll get a fee and one that actually means something, and not a $10,000 or $10 million 1-month loan. But yeah, it doesn't sound like he's super keen to sign with them unless they put a lot of money in there.
I read earlier today that tomorrow they're presenting him with a fresh new offer, and I think their hope is to announce it before kickoff.
That would be ideal, especially because the worst case scenario there is they give an offer, he doesn't like it, and then you find out he's in the starting lineup and his head's not in the game.
Exactly.
Especially like you said, a team like Bournemouth, if you're not, I mean, there aren't really any teams that you can sleep on in the league because every single team can get after it on its day. Like even the newly promoted teams, if you take them for granted, you know, all of a sudden they sneak a goal and then park the bus, boom, 3 points dropped.
And we see it every year, and we
Hmm.
see it multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, especially over the last couple seasons, I think Brighton, Crystal Palace, and West Ham randomly pull off these results that just completely shake the table because they're expected wins for a Man City, a Liverpool, a Chelsea, and then it doesn't happen. And it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute, we were banking those 3 points. Now everything's a little different because you drop them, and
Yeah,
especially
and remember last spring when I had you guys on, we talked about all these little engines that were up high in the table, and they stayed there. Nottingham Forest, right?
hmm
So I don't, like you said, you can't fall asleep on anybody, and if somebody's head is not in the right place, and what are they going to do tomorrow? Like, it's not like they can sit them.
No, but I will say though we do have a good advantage over them though. They sold a good amount of players and they haven't refilled all those spots. So there's a little bit of advantage for us for that. I mean, we just took their defender, which I'm not gonna lie, Kirk has looked a little rough, right? Like there was a couple times that I told John what I did like though is the one thing with Soboslai and him learning how to switch pretty easily. That was pretty nice to watch.
hmm
I think it's because of the language. I think me and John goes like, if they can understand each other, then why not? Like if that's something that we can implement and helps out, great, cool. Um, they sold all and they're still looking for more. So I think that might help us just like give us the edge right there. Like I think that'll help us right there.
I do think the other big thing that gets overlooked a little bit in the Community Shield game is the midfield was not the midfield that I think is going to be our go-to starters going forward because McAllister came off the bench and Gravenberch had just become a father, so he was absent from the squad. But I think the two of them start most games with Zoboslai coming in when you need industry or a rotation. What I'm a little curious about is this year, and I think it's going to be a bigger test for Arne Slot because last year he kind of was able to come in. There weren't huge expectations. You're replacing an absolute legend in Klopp. So no one expected you to come in and blow the doors off everything and win the league in your first year. Now the secret's out. So there's a little bit of pressure, a little bit of expectation. And I think what we're going to see is because of these new signings coming in, the competition for places is going to be a lot more intense. And a guy like Zoboslai, who again is captain of his country, he might end up being the third choice of a two-man midfield. So, man management and keeping players happy if they're not getting every single game is going to be huge. And I feel like that's an understated aspect of, especially with a season that is as long as the Premier League season, and then you have multiple competitions. But these guys want to play every 3 days. They don't want a game to go by where they're not starting or at least getting on the pitch.
And to be fair, I mean, yeah, we've brought in all these great new signings, but we've had a lot of turnover. And these guys all have to gel. I don't care what anybody says, like this preseason, it goes by in the blink of an eye. Half of it's traveling. Like, they're traveling halfway around the world to freaking Hong Kong, spending, 10 days there, or whatever it is. They're bringing new guys in during that. And we still have 2 weeks to go in the transfer market. And like, let me ask you this, because I don't want to see this kid go. And I think he might, just because what you just said, John, what you were talking about, what they want to play is Elliott. And I don't want to lose that kid.
Especially because in my mind, you have Mohamed Salah for this season, and then depending on the year he has, because it was a 2-year deal he signed, you can flip him for a profit. Maybe he goes to Saudi Arabia or whatever, and get some money out of him. But realistically, you got him for 2 years, and then you're going to need to find a player who can step into that role. And Harvey Elliott has shown, I mean, he's still very young. People forget he came over from Fulham as a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
He's what, 22? So
20,
even if he's got
23,
even if he's got to wait 2 years to really take the role as the starter, we're still going to have him in his prime. But you lose him, especially with this. Leverkusen apparently wants him for like 40 million. 40 million is not nothing.
I saw West Ham for almost 50.
He's got a lot of suitors. That's the one thing he does have. And even
Look at
Brighton asked about him.
Look how he played for the U21 team this summer.
He was man in the tournament.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah, it's just wondering if he fits Slot's image, if he fits his style, if he fits his style of play. I mean, you guys are right. It's the first game of the season. We're trying new things out. It's different in practice than when you actually play another team. Because again, you're playing in the style of trying to get somebody, elevated, do something better. Like, can you do that faster? But when it comes to another team, you don't have time for that. They're going to run at you. They're going to pass by you. They're going to fly right through you. And I think those are the type of things we got to figure out, is like what type of players is going to be helpful for that. In like John loves that, is that we have different players for different formations. If we can switch them up, even better. I promise that we can find one for Harvey. We can. It's just depending on where and how we're going to play it. We talked about that with Minamino. How awesome was he for tournaments?
But again, when he was with the club, you just weren't going to displace those starters.
But in tournaments,
I do think a formation switch to a 4-2-3-1 does benefit Harvey Elliott if he stays, because he can play in the center, so he can back up Florian Wirtz. He can play out on the right like he's been doing, deputizing for Salah. You can even drop him deeper if it's going to be a game where you're expecting to have much more possession. He could be one of the two, and you can bring in another technical player who can open the game up. Now, I don't know how many games you're actually going to have like that, because again, like we were saying in the Premier League, I don't care if you're playing one. You could be playing Sunderland. You're not going to have 90% possession. It's just not realistic. Premier League is the teams are too good. So even when we have, the Man City games where everyone's raving about their possession, 75% possession over 1,000 passes. Yeah, but 900 of them are between the two center backs and the goalie. So like, what are you really doing with it? Now, when you're a lethal team like Man City, like what Chelsea has shown they can be, like Liverpool has shown I'll even throw them in there, even though I feel like they have more slip-up games than their fans will ever admit. But they went out and just got a striker. So they finally addressed the issue that they've been having for 5 years during this Arteta project. You've known you needed a striker for 5 years. You finally went and got one. Now, I don't think he's going to pan out, because Henry and I were talking about this the other day. historically, strikers coming from the Portuguese league do not hit the ground running in the EPL. And if you look at his goals, I think he scored 38 goals or something like that last year. 15 plus were penalties. So you take those away, and okay, you're still a 20-goal scoring striker. That's a great find, but next Holland is a stretch. I mean, the guy was playing in the championship a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the Prem is the most rugged league in the world. It's the
Yeah.
toughest. It's the most physical. He's going to get knocked around, and he's not going to get the whistles that he was getting in, Portugal. I think it's going to be real eye-opening for him. But, to be fair, not only did Liverpool reload and improve, Arsenal spent a lot of money. Man City spent a lot of money. Now, granted, it was very early in the transfer market.
Yep.
And Chelsea has spent a ton of money. And there's like 10 more rumors swirling around Chelsea and some guys that they're going to get. Like,
Oh,
Man U, I don't care because for them,
I was going to say, if you want a good laugh, they've spent $250 million.
yeah, I mean, and it's not going to get them anywhere.
I don't see them in the top half.
No, I don't. I saw today that for the first time in 10 years, somebody other than Man City is favored to win the Prem.
Yeah, Liverpool opened as the favorite. I mean, Man City's right behind them. I think Liverpool's like plus
No,
175.
Arsenal's number 2.
Really?
Arsenal's number 2. Man City's number 3. And it's the first time they have not been in the top 2 since the 2011-2012 season.
Wow. That's what spending $1 billion will do.
I guess that's what happens when you lose Jack Grealish on loan to Everton, right?
Yeah, I mean,
He
I
needed to play, though.
I think that is a phenomenal move
For Everton.
for Everton and for Jack Grealish.
Yes.
He needed to play,
World Cup's
man.
coming up. He's got to get on
Yeah.
the field. Otherwise,
Plus-
you're not going to be on that 26 man.
Now, plus, it's like me and John had this conversation about him too. Yeah, we liked Jackie Grealish because he was a free bird. Just let him run, let him go play, let him go do his thing. And Pep is all about a system, and we just did not see that dude anymore. Like,
No.
dude, the hair not flowing, the dancing, the happy celebrations. Where is that dude? I'm like, he's
I
not
think-
there. He's
And
not
the
there.
rumor is,
Do we even think with this move to Everton, with him playing, do you even think he's going to crack this squad? I'm
Yeah.
not so sure.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm
Definitely.
dude. The only thing I'm ever excited for anything coming out for Everton would be is Jackie Grealish. I want to see him play, like actually play, not
and I
his City
think
style.
because it's a Sean Dyche team, defense is going to be taken care of. So you're going to be able to release him and let him have that free role like he did at Villa. And
Moyes,
yeah, sorry, I forgot it is Moyes.
Moyes, which we
even-
liked when he
even
was
better.
attacking, because he likes to
Because-
attack when he has the ball. Yeah,
Well, and similar to Dyche, he's going to have defense figured out. He's a defense first coach. But now you give him a weapon like Jack Grealish, there could be that's another team that, don't sleep on Everton this year. They could really have a say in who finishes where. Because I think they're going to upset some teams that aren't expecting them to be as tough as I think they will be this year.
Well,
I think they got the new stadium bounce. They got a pretty good squad. There's a little bit of a feel-good factor back with them.
and they got a great gaffer in Moyes.
I mean,
yeah, dude. He's awesome.
I still think
he'll-
the biggest mistake was letting him go to Man U after Sir Alex.
He'll win 5 or 6 games on his own.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No.
And think of that. That's 15 points. That's
Yeah.
halfway to safety most Premier League seasons. So forget this relegation Everton talk I'm seeing. Like, let me put it this way. There is a much higher chance of Everton finishing in the top half of the table than Manchester United.
Oh, easily.
I could see Everton sneaking the Conference League or Europa League even if they really go on a run. Because I think one of the things we're going to see from them is they're not going to be dropping points from winning positions like we have seen in previous years. I do worry where their goal scoring is going to come from a little bit, but again, you add a player like Jack Grealish who can open up defenses, run at defenders. at the very least, he opens up space for other people because it takes two people to mark him. I think we could see a lot of. I wasn't very excited about Everton until the Jack Grealish move, but now I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going to work.
I I think they're going to have some added juice just from the new stadium too. I think that's going to be a real motivator for them. I think the fans are going to want to flock there. They'll be even more inspired. And look, the way they finished last year, they were a dangerous squad. That final third of the season, they were dangerous. Like you didn't want to play them.
They ran up the table. They were because remember they were a relegation look, and they finished relatively comfortable. I think, unfortunately, I think it's been 3 seasons straight now that the promoted teams have just gone straight back down. Unfortunately, I do think we're probably looking at that again, with the exception of I'm a little worried about Wolves. I could see maybe a Sunderland or a Leeds staying up and Wolves dropping into that bottom three. I know they finished like 10 points clear last year, but the eye test was concerning.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've addressed enough of the issues that we saw. And I think most of the league has improved.
Yeah, I agree. I could see that happening. I don't see Burnley having any chance of staying up. I could see them usually finishing last place again.
Yeah.
Like I haven't heard really much waves from them. I wanted to also talk about this because we were getting into Liverpool's midfield, and we're talking about all these new signings. But this 16-year-old wonder kid Rio,
Oh my.
Dude, I love this kid. Oh man, this
He's
kid is so
fearless.
good.
going to have a big role in this squad.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
absolutely fearless.
they're
I
making
love it.
space for him. That's the good part. They're making space just for
Yeah.
him. They don't
Yeah.
want him to go with the little kids now anymore. They're like, no. This is where you stick. We see what's going on with you. You train with us. You play with us. You practice with us. Yeah, you go play your games with them. But for right now, all of this is here with us. And I absolutely love that right now, dude.
And like what John said, he's freaking fearless in that preseason game.
Oh my god.
Every time he got the ball, I'm just
Running
going to
in.
go at somebody.
Run
In
in.
midfield, and he's like, I'm
Brave.
gonna run to the
Dude,
18.
the kid was bold. That's the one thing he was bold. He's just like, who are you? I don't know who you are. I'm just gonna try to play against you. I'm like, dude, oh my god, I love this kid.
And there's something that you need to really hit those higher echelons. You need to have a bit of cockiness and self-belief. And he's already on record at 16 years old going, yeah, I believe I can win the Ballon d'Or. So the sky's the limit for him. He's aiming there. He's putting the work in. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Raheem Sterling when he first broke into the team. But I think Rio is a little more polished than Raheem was when he was that age. And I think also playing in this Liverpool squad, there is so much space that, Salah, Verts, Ekitike now, even Gakpo, they demand attention from defenders. And when you open up space for someone with electric pace, unbelievable technical dribbling, and precision shooting, you got to say. I mean, he's not putting the ball down the middle and doing tap-ins. He's rolling it in from 20 yards out right into the corner.
He's taking shots, dude. Like shots. Like kind of at that moment, I'm just gonna take it. What's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm like, oh my god, these are bullets.
Dude, he's a star on Broadway. Like he wants to be in the spotlight. He doesn't shy away from it. And when he's on that pitch, he was like, "It's my moment."
Oh yeah.
And
I think he's going to be a cup hero. I think he's going to start a lot of the cup games, and especially those earlier rounds when you're facing lower league opposition. I could really see him just, multiple man of the match performances are in his future this season. I can't speak highly enough about him. Every time he gets the ball, something electric happens. Because And again, I know I kind of took a jab at Man City before about passing between the defenders and the goalkeeper, but every single time he receives the ball, his first look is towards goal. He never receives the ball and is just satisfied with playing backwards or playing sideways. He always wants to see if there's that option forward. And that, I mean, it changes games. Because, okay, if I'm a defender and the last 5 times you've got the ball, you've ran at me. Well, the next time you get the ball, I'm probably going to start an extra yard or two off. Now you have more space. Game opens up. And when you give a player of his ability that much space, like, I mean, we see it with Salah all the time. You give him a yard of space to come in on his left foot, ball's going in the top corner. Have fun picking it out of the back of the net.
And he's 16.
Yeah. I mean, and there's
And look at how we're talking about him.
every time I see him, it reminds me of Sadio Mane. Like, he's got that electric to him, and it's the sky's the limit for the kid. I see why he's looking at the Ballon d'Or. I hope Liverpool handles him right, because again, he is 16. Yeah, he's getting a lot of attention right now. I hope he's got, good people in his corner giving him advice, and so far so good. But the noise is only going to get louder as he gets more and more spotlight.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of noise. How old was Sterling when he broke in? Was he 18? 19? He definitely wasn't Rio's age.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't a 16-year-old, but I want to say he broke into the first team as like a 17-year-old, 18 tops. I'm pretty sure he was 17 because they made such a big deal about it.
Yeah.
But then think about this, and I really hope this isn't the situation for Rio. But if we were to have this conversation, say 4 or 5 years ago, we were probably talking about Brewster the same way.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's still playing. I believe he's at Derby, but he didn't hit those heights that we thought. So while he is young and exciting, you can't go and bet. You can't bet the mortgage on him just yet. But there's reasons to start looking at it.
I don't think you ever want to bet the mortgage on a 16-year-old kid because you just don't know once they get the fame and the money,
Yeah.
how they're going to handle that. So you always have to be leery. But John, I'll steal it from you. Like what we've seen so far, it's electric, and it makes you super excited. And you're like, you're going to have a lot of fun with this kid.
Well, and not only that, but think about it. Like that left wing position, that's Gakpo's position right now. He's definitely got it locked down. But if it's not working, Gakpo's having an off day, he needs rotation. The fact that you can just sit there and look down the bench and go, all right, Rio, and it changes everything up. And you're not sitting there going, do I trust the 16-year-old? Is he really going to make a difference? He's already shown you he can. Now, given preseason, it's going to be a little different once we get into it. But Liverpool plays, 60-plus games a year because of all the different tournaments? Like, he will have, I wouldn't be surprised to see him make 20 appearances for us.
I think it's going to be more like I don't view Gapco as a 90-minute guy.
I think the game dictates if he is. If he's got to be tracking back and covering, and it's end to end, I would agree.
No. Yeah.
He's probably got 60, 70 minutes of top quality before he drops off. Unfortunately, I think unlike some players, his drop off from energized to fatigued is big and noticeable.
It's really noticeable.
Whereas like a guy like Zoboslai is just an engine. Whether it's minute 5 or minute 95, he's just going and going and going. But there are games that need an engine, and there are games that need a maestro. And I think that's where Arne Slot is really going to come in and have to earn his paycheck. And last year he showed that most of his decisions paid off. He made the right substitutions and they all worked out. But to do it again the following year, now that everyone's clocked you and everyone's got your number, it's one of those things when the schedule comes out, every single team sits there and goes, okay, when am I playing the champions?
Yep.
Because that's the acid test. So now, you're Liverpool, you're already a big club, Everton's circling you, Man City circling you, United's circling you, but have fun. But now all 19 teams are saying it. So you got to show up every single week.
I would not be shocked if we're down 1-0 in the opening 10 minutes tomorrow. I would not be shocked.
I would
The-
love to say like that is a possibility. I just think after what we saw from a Community Shield game, um, a lot of the people that look like this, they like Verge's face when he committed the foul. He was pissed off at himself more than anybody else.
And that
He
foul
was
was so soft.
so soft, but you can tell Verge was not mad at the call or anything else. He's mad at himself because he was like, I should have known better. And
You
I
should have
think
been there half a step quicker.
yeah, and it's the same thing with like Konate at times, like being really relaxed at times, and that's the one thing that we love is that attitude is good. Especially with like we've seen people go at him, and he's just like, dude, stop, like don't even try, like you're just embarrassing yourself. But yesterday it was just like, all right, you're just a little too. Sorry, the last game was just a little too lax a couple times for me, where I needed him to just turn that ball around and go back forward as soon as possible. And that's the one thing I will say is that I think Konate realized that. I think Virgil probably realized some of the stuff, like we talked about before with Kirkes, like him making those moves and stuff like that. I'll say I think Robbo might get the start tomorrow. I believe. I feel that might actually happen more.
I'm only
Ooh.
saying that to John's point of we're going to get everybody's best shot. This is the only game tomorrow. It's the opening game of the Prem. It's at Bournemouth. They're going to come out swinging.
Do you think Salah will still play out as wide as he did for the Community Shield? Because that's the one thing is my biggest pet peeve. I don't like it. I don't like him that wide. John has
did
heard
not
me
like-
one season, just every game. I'm just like, oh, John, why is he playing so wide again?
So what I think we're going to end up seeing more and more of, especially as everyone kind of assimilates to each other with the new signings coming in, is I bet we're going to see Vert dropping into the midfield a good bit to help link up the play because again, his technical ability in passing. We don't have the Trent 80-yard diagonal ball anymore, so we're going to have to be a little more on the ground, playing through and around people. And I think Vert has shown he can be that guy. Ekitike will stay up top, give us a hold-up play. What I want to see is solid drop in almost under him and play kind of like a second striker. Because Frimpong's going to be going up and down that right side. That's your width. You have your outlet ball on the outside. I want Salah in goal-scoring positions because I don't want him having to run as much because I want him for the full season. I'm a little nervous that, Father Time's undefeated. And as good as Salah is, just put in a player of the season performance last year, as good as he is, eventually you're going to slow down. Eventually you're going to start getting tired, especially when you play him as much as we do. I would love to see him not released from defensive responsibilities, but not, protect him a little bit. He's earned it.
Slot did that last year. He
Yes.
did take away, a good amount of defensive responsibilities from him.
And that was a big reason that Salah signed the extension. Was he had that conversation with Slot, and Slot said, "Hey, this is how I envision using you," and they were on board.
A really good run of games because of that too. Like a
Mhm.
really good run of goals game after game. I think maybe he tried something, maybe in the Community Shield. Maybe that's all we saw. He tried something to see if this might work. And maybe he learned from that, and he might not do that for the next game. Remember, he did say, I did see some things in that game. What it is, I'm not going to tell you guys, which I like. He doesn't say that much. He's like, I'm not going to tell you guys, but we're going to be working on it in the back. I'm like, I feel like me and John also like agree. When bad things happen, he learns. He's like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that
You
again.
don't make the same mistake twice. But also, the Community Shield's one of those games that I kind of love and hate because it's if you're the losing team, so Liverpool in this example, it's the last preseason game. Real game starts next week or tomorrow now. If you win it, it jumpstarts your season. So, you can kind of dismiss it, or you can use it as a launch pad. And I do think Crystal Palace will use it as a launch pad. First trophy, and then you follow it up with the Community Shield against Liverpool, like that dressing room's got to be buzzing right now. And I think if they keep that together, I know I've been harking on this all night, but yeah, Crystal Palace is gonna upset some people, which just infuriates me about UEFA's decision.
That was the dumbest thing.
A joke.
I don't want to
It's
go
honestly
into it
a
too
joke.
much because we could do an entire show just on this, but it's so disrespectful to Crystal Palace and their fans. Like the guy that you're alleging, is the cause of the multi club ownership doesn't own the club anymore. Where's the conflict?
That is exactly it. There's none of it anymore, and I just don't understand it. And to be honest with you, those fans, since lifting up that trophy, I mean, don't do this to them. Like honestly, you send them in that competition, I think that's going to even give them spirits even more. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I think if they were in the competition, I think that would boost them up even more in the Prem. If you want me to be honest with you, if they do well, and I think they could. I really think they could.
I do worry about their squad depth a little bit because again, it's that front three that does make them so electric and exciting. I mean, especially Eze and Sar have really stepped up. Um, but you add European competition in; those are extra games. Do they have the depth to be able to last until May? It's crazy. We're in August. We're talking about hoping to win trophies in May. You have to plan that far in ahead. Make sure that you have that many contingencies. And the old adage, you can't win the trophy on the first day, but you can certainly start losing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen over the last handful of years, there's not a lot of room for error at the top. And if you really want to get into it, there's even less room for error at the bottom.
Well, look, today, Nottingham Forest paid $40 million for a player.
Yeah.
They bought a dude from Man City. Think about that for a second. Like, Forest spending 40 mil, and then Wrexham,
Wrexham just broke their transfer record. Yep.
I think it's 10 million after the add-ons.
If he hits all the add-ons for appearances and everything.
It's 7.5 up front, and he came over from Ipswich?
Yeah.
But I mean,
and they got an eye opener last weekend, Wrexham.
Yeah.
I mean, between the getting to the championship, leading as long as they did, and then 2 stoppage time goals to lose it, absolute killer. But then the whole City game was one of the best watches of the week.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
I mean, I can't see them. I honestly don't think that they're even going to get to the top 10 in the championship. I don't see it. I probably would say the 3 teams that went down, there's a good chance that those 3 go back up.
Mm.
There might be like a Sutherland, right?
I mean, there's definitely a couple teams here. I want to pull up the championship table, actually.
I have it up on my phone.
Because there's a couple teams in the championship that I always think back and I'm like, this is a team that I would expect to be towards the top. Southampton, Leicester, you kind of expect them to be there. But then you think about historically, like a Stoke City.
Yeah.
I mean, Stoke, at least for me growing up, Stoke was a Premier League side.
West Brom, too.
West Brom's another
Brom,
one.
yeah. Wow.
Middlesbrough. It's been a minute since Middlesbrough. And I will say, with Sunderland back up, if we can get Middlesbrough up and Sunderland stays up, Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, all in the Prem, that's a fun time. But then you go down to Hull City, Blackburn Rovers. Historically, I mean, they're Premier League champions.
Mm-hmm.
But when's the last time we saw them in the Prem?
It's got to be
Swansea, Watford.
10 years since Blackburn.
Same
with Swansea, right?
Swansea, Brendan Rodgers was the last time I remember them being up. Before he came over to us. Watford was a little more recent, but not a team that I would expect to want to stay in the championship. These teams want to get back to the Prem, and they have the history and the aspirations to get there. But keep in mind, we just listed off about 8 teams. There's 3 spots available.
Mm.
I'm rooting for Sunderland to stay up.
Yeah, so
Oh,
are we.
absolutely.
Because of our friend too. Like, he supports them, so we actually are rooting for them as well. So I'm actually excited to see that. Mostly because of also to the Newcastle. I mean, those games were always so chippy. So I'm excited to see it now in the Prem. I'm like,
derbies are so much fun.
I think those games are going to be like, oh, this game's going to have lots of highlights. Some definitely a red card here or two.
Well, and actually, speaking of Newcastle, I am going to address the elephant in the room real quick with Isak. I do not think that relationship is salvageable. If he doesn't come to Liverpool, he's talking about sitting out the season.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he did say,
oof.
I will never pay for Newcastle ever again. He stated that.
I mean, if you're Newcastle, you got to sit there and go, "Hey, Liverpool, is the 120 still on the table?" Like, and just you got to take it.
But where is he going to fit?
Isak?
I think
We
I
see
think Ekatike ends up getting pushed out to the left. Gakpo loses out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the most likely, because all 3 of them can rotate between those 2 positions.
Yeah.
But do we want to spend 120 mil on
Yes.
a guy that we're going to talk about rotating?
Yes,
No,
absolutely.
because I think I think we spend 80 mil on the guy that we're going to rotate if we get Isak. I think Ekatike is a very expensive bench / left option
I would
at that
say,
point.
yeah.
It is.
I'm sorry. Isak has passed the eye test for multiple years. He wasn't a 1-season wonder, and he's doing it at a Newcastle team that does not have the ability to support him the way this Liverpool team could.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes to Liverpool, I will pull up some random betting app and put $100 on him winning the Golden Boot. I'm that confident in him working out if he comes. I do think it would be a slow start, though, because I don't like the fact that he hasn't had a real preseason because he's doing all this drama stuff trying to force the move.
And also being told to sit out. Like, he's being told, you're not practicing with us today. You're not coming with us today.
He was practicing in Spain for a while. He wasn't even with the team.
Yeah, he was with Real Betis, his old team.
Mm-hmm.
His old team. Yeah, they welcomed him back, too. They're like, yeah, come train with us and all this stuff like that. I mean, I think John's right. I can't see Newcastle just holding on to potential 120 just sitting on the couch. Like, I just can't see them doing that. It's not Phil Jones, where you can have him there and collect a paycheck for years and be like, he's still on the roster? What?
Oh no, who was the goalkeeper at Man City? He was like their 3rd string goalkeeper. He had been there forever because he helped them meet their English player quota. Scott Carson or something like that.
I think something like that, dude.
Yeah, he was like their longest serving player, and he has, I think, like 98 minutes of game time for them.
And I think we will be grateful for Isak when it comes down to, I think we all said it, when we're going to be in all these competitions and we're going to be playing 2 games a week. I think for now, yeah, being slow is okay because I think he needs that anyway. But once we go Champions League, FA Cup, this, that, and I'm like, yeah, I think we're going to be happy we have an Isak and Ikitike and even a Gakpo. It's now we just got to, like anything else, we got, and same to our point, now it comes back again for Harvey. Mo gets tired or Mo gets in. Let's just not going to happen.
Don't say the I word.
But, or we all know, we've seen it. This dude needs a break. Like, we've seen it. Sometimes Mo doesn't need to start sometimes. Give him the second half, because that boy was gassed last game. It'd be good to have a Harvey Elliott for those occasions,
Don't get me wrong. I want Isak, but I want to get this signing done over the line. I think that's very important. John, where did you see that Palmer kid that was signed, sealed, and delivered? Because I haven't seen it yet.
The 18-year-old?
Yeah, I saw a couple things on it today. Let me actually see.
Oh no, he's coming, dude. It's that deal's
for the money that they want for him. He's definitely, and that's why I'm saying, why isn't this Crystal Palace dude? Not, they want 40 million.
For Gahey?
Yeah, like nothing.
Yeah.
Pay that in.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
that
pay
should
him
be
right now.
the easiest deal possible because it's a release clause. It's not even a negotiation.
No.
Right.
That handshake also in the beginning between the two of them, like, no, he's coming. Did you see that between the two of them? They locked eyes and Gahey's like, I'll be there soon, boss. I'll be there.
Yeah, I want to get those two out of the way because it'll put my mind at ease over the back. You know, like Simicast is probably going to leave because he's not going to be
I've
third,
heard that too.
I heard that rumor. I really hope it's not true.
but he's not going to play over Robo.
But he already said he's comfortable playing 15, 20 games a year for a team like Liverpool, as opposed to, being in, I don't
And
want
I
to bash
love
another league or whatever, but
Yeah.
Turkey.
I think he has the same attitude as Endo. As long as you want me here, and as long as I can come play and I can help out and I can like pull my weight into this, I'm happy to stay here. It's the same thing. Like if I've heard Endo was leaving, I'd be like, no, please don't. No.
He's not going anywhere.
No,
He's
he needs to
too
stay.
valuable.
He's
Also, I saw something last season in Endo. I believe he committed something like over 100 fouls without picking up a yellow card, but it was only across like 40 minutes of play. Because it was when Spot would sit there and go, up, we're up, 3-1, 2-1, put Endo on, let's kill this game off, and he would just break up play. But I think it's just he's like such a nice guy about it. The refs don't want to book him.
Like Slot just tells him, Endo, get on the field, and every time you're near the ball, just follow the guy.
Yeah.
Take him down, knock him down, just stop play, let us get back behind the ball.
I always feel like it's the scene from if you've seen the movie The Replacements, where Gene Hackman goes to
the line, the crazy
to John Favreau, and he's like, Danny, go get me the ball. I got you the ball. That's what they're doing with Endo. Endo, go get me the ball.
So the one name we haven't really talked about, and he's kind of like in the same spot as Elliott, is Jonesy.
He didn't have a great game. He did not have a great first game. No, it was rough to watch that. And honestly, that's a lot of pressure on him because now he is the scouser of like he's the dude now. And we've seen some games where Jones was just on hot fire, man. Like there have been some games where that dude is just feeling himself, and we're like, no, don't feel it, dude. Totally, just go about it. I think Jones is. I think a fight for his place though is actually a good thing though. I'm not gonna lie. I think him fighting for a spot is a good thing because if he's on the roster or on the 11, then we know you were doing well. That you've done something to actually make yourself there. So I think Jones is going to be huge for us too because again we do have a lot of competitions. It's going to be in the beginning now because we're only just playing the Prem, but once all this stuff starts going through, we're going to be like, all right, Jones, what are you doing? Endo, how are you playing?
To me, this is a good problem to have, right? Like we're 50 minutes into the show, and we haven't even talked about a guy that's tapping on the door of the starting 11. And sometimes he's in, sometimes he's out. But
and even a player that's was supposed to be coming back, but he's going back on loan by Chechic. He's not coming back. He's going on loan supposedly. And Slot says, I don't want to sell him. I don't want to sell him. So that means he sees something in that kid, and I think that's why he's selling him putting him on loan. So
I was worried about how he was going to do coming back from injury, but I think that loan spell last year, he showed there's a player there. And again, young. I think Jones's biggest issue, I don't think that midfield pairing did any favors for Zoboslai or Jones, because for me, they're the same player. They're industry. They're your box-to-box guys. They're the engines. I feel like it was one of those situations where it either wasn't communicated to them or they didn't communicate amongst each other. Which one of us is going to be the creator? Which one of us is going to be the engine? They kept kind of getting in each other's way. Whereas I feel like if you play one of them as the engine next to a McAllister, it makes it much. I think both of them get elevated with that pairing. But now, because we've brought these attacking options in and we seem to have this formation switch to a 4-2-3-1, well, we've taken a midfield role away instead of a 4-3-3. So it's it's really how many games we have is definitely going to give you an opportunity, but how comfortable are you not being the main guy? Is his head going to get turned by someone who offers him, the main role? Because he's still young enough. He's still, entering his prime. He's going to want that opportunity before his, you know, you don't want to be that understudy and all of a sudden you're 30 years old.
Mm.
Yep. So let me get your predictions, top four, because we got about 10 minutes left. So
Henry, I'm going to let you take this one first.
Henry, you go first. What's your top four in order?
Liverpool, Arsenal. I'm gonna say that. I say City, and lastly, fourth. This is the one that I had like the hardest one, even when I did it myself in choosing. I had the hardest time thinking about who it might be. To be honest with you, I actually hope it's going to be Forest. If you want me to be honest with you, top four. I would love for
So you
Forest to
have
be on there.
Chelsea missing out.
I think they spent too much money, and they are going to be doing exactly what they did last year, trying to figure it out while they're playing. Because they sold a lot of players too that were in the squad last season, and I
Okay.
feel it could be another project again. Maresca's a great coach. Like I think he is. I think he's a great coach, especially when the games are bad. He takes the blame. This was on me. I did not do this. And I think him managing the younger kids too, and clearly that's the system now, right? I think we all agree that's the system now for Chelsea's buy super young, so we can have them for a long time. And clearly, we saw this transfer season sell a whole bunch of them if we don't want them. Like legit, I don't want this guy. I don't want that guy. I don't want him. And also, Garnacho last season was rough for him. I don't know if he's gonna really help Chelsea. I don't know. I don't know with him because he was just inconsistent last season.
He doesn't get into their starting 11 for me.
And Palmer disappeared the second half of the season.
Yeah, he did, but he did have a wonderful summer tournament. So I think it's one of those things. If they manage his time, he might have the whole like we talked about with Mo. If we manage his time like he did last season, we don't have him do too much. He's not defending. Look what we got, a Mo for almost the whole season, right? Almost the whole season. A few games here or there where he wasn't like the dude. This season right now, let's see what it is with. I think Chelsea's got a really big hurdle to climb. I'm sorry. I just see like there's just too many things for them to need to figure out.
All right, John, how about you?
So obviously Liverpool number one. I think Slot proved he can do it, and the reinforcements they brought in, plus the fact that the Isak deal still could be out there. A couple of these center backs coming in could still be out there. Um, I just look at their roster top to bottom. I don't see a better roster in the league right now.
Top to bottom, no way.
This is where we are very different, Henry. I have Chelsea number two.
Okay.
I think Cole Palmer will be your player of the season. I think he has full reins of that team, and he has shown that he might only have two brain cells, but they only speak footy, and he's really going to come into it. And with getting the keys to the castle a little more, now that I feel like the Chelsea team is a little more settled than it was at the beginning of last year when they had all the ins and outs and no one really knew what the hell was going on. Yeah, I think that team that picked PSG apart is what we're going to see this year. I would not be surprised if Liverpool only wins the title by, less than 6 points. And then I had a tough one for my third spot because I think both of the teams that I wanted to put there suffer from the same issue, and it's the pressure of the expectations. And I couldn't figure out, do I think Man City's going to end up there or is Arsenal going to end up there? I have this vision of being 15, 20 games into the season, so approaching the festive fixtures, and Arsenal is like 10 points off the pace, and Arteta just has a meltdown. But I could say the exact same thing about Pep. So I'm going to lean Pep and give City that third spot because I do think he's been through the ringer before. He's got the pedigree to get through it. and that team just I have a little more faith in. I don't think Gyökeres is going to be the answer that Arsenal want him to be. Which brings me to my fourth spot, and Nottingham Forest get it. I do worry that the added European competition might hurt them, but I don't think Arsenal finished in the top four. I think that the experiment will have run its course, and at some point this season or at the end of the season, Arteta will no longer be the coach of Arsenal.
So, with that being said, you think they finish fifth to at least stay in Europe?
Fifth or sixth, yeah. I can see if Isak comes to Liverpool, and depending on what Newcastle does with that money, I could absolutely see Newcastle pushing for that fifth and sixth spot. I think Brighton shouldn't be slept on. Crystal Palace absolutely could be looking anywhere from, I could see them being fifth. I could see them being eighth, somewhere in that range. And yeah, there's a lot of big teams that I'm leaving out of this top eight if you start listening to it.
So let me. I'm kind of with you, John. I got LFC 1, Chelsea 2, City 3, and then where I'm struggling, and I don't care. Like, yeah, I really want to see Forest finish fourth, but you can give me Forest fourth, Villa fifth, or switch it. Give me Villa. They've been punching at the door for a long time.
Absolutely.
And like I think Arteta is not going to finish the season with Arsenal. I think this is going to blow back in his face. It's going to blow up. I don't see Arsenal finishing higher than sixth or seventh.
Well, and we saw cracks of it last year in his press conferences. A simple question like, do you feel, added pressure to deliver now that you're in your fourth year? And he snaps. And if we had the same points we had last year, we'd have more points than Liverpool and we'd win the title. Yeah, you say that when there's 5 games left to play and there's still 15 points on the table. Like, duh, dude, you played more games. But like, it's getting to him. And I think especially now you have very noisy neighbors, Club World Cup champions, Europa. Tottenham won a trophy. I mean, given they just blew it in penalties to PSG, but there's a trophy in their cabinet. Right up the road, Crystal Palace, a couple trophies in their cabinet now. And what's
Two,
Arteta got to show to it?
Two, because Arteta counts the Community Shield. Remember that. So he can't.
And that is true. He does try to claim it. So
if he counts it, then it counts for them too. So,
but
I
at this point, he's feeling like 27 dresses. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
And I'm just convinced that one of these little engines that could is gonna finish top 4, top 5, and if there's one team I don't trust, it's Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why, for me, that fourth spot again, it could be. I think Forest will be there, but it could be Brighton, it could be Palace, it could be Villa. I think the biggest thing for them is going to be how do they handle European competition and the Premier League schedule. Where's the focus?
I'm not gonna. I like that, and I'm not gonna lie. Also, I think we all enjoyed like the fight for top 4 last season. I think that was really fun to watch. Names go up,
Oh
down,
yeah.
up, down.
Great.
That was a lot of fun.
I think we also liked it because Liverpool were so safe that we got to enjoy the other fights.
That
But
was
yeah,
nice
like
too.
I mean, in a perfect world, in my mind, your champion is decided in the last 3 weeks of the season. Your top 4 is decided on the final day, and so is relegation. That is the perfect Premier League season for my mind.
Yeah,
I want every fight to come down to the end.
and think about last year, relegation was done
That was
like
boring. Relegation was
Oh
boring.
my god!
ahead of time.
We hit the festive fixtures. We knew who was going down.
It was
Like I
boring.
said,
but
Wolves was the safe team, and they were 10 points clear of the battle.
I do miss the days where at the end of the year, like John said, we watched so many faces at like watching games and seeing some people tremble and some with excitement. It's honestly, it's
Well,
so much fun.
I always think back to Matt. You'll enjoy this story. we were at Darcy's for the final game of the year, and they have all the games up on the TVs, and one TV was delayed by about 2 minutes, and this group of Everton fans is watching, and it was when Everton was worried about the relegation fight.
Oh, that
And
was so
the
good.
entire bar knows that they're safe, but they have not looked away from this TV to realize that the game is actually over, and we're watching them die in real time. But the sigh of relief that they let out when they realized they were safe, like that's what makes that final day of the season. Like
Mm.
you got to have something to play for. Otherwise, it's like, cool. I have to try to pay attention to 10 games at once. Like, no, I want to sit there and be like, okay, who's fighting for what?
Yep.
So, last thing before we go, and I do have to make a mention of something before we jump. Salah extend his opening day scoring streak tomorrow.
Yeah.
He extends the streak. We remain the,
Yeah.
what would be 12 years unbeaten on the opening day. I will take that.
Let's go get it. Let's go get it.
I think,
Prediction.
unfortunately, Matt, I think you might have hit the nail on the head there. I think we're going to let an early goal in. But
I'll
then
go
I
with-
think the response is going to be loud and multiple. I have 3-1.
I was going to go 3-1 myself.
I
I'm
think
gonna go.
TK gets on the score sheet, Salah gets on the score sheet, and in a perfect world, Virgil header from the corner.
Yeah, I think we go down. I think we go down 1-0, end the first half up 2-1, and we get some type of clunky goal in the second half. And whether it's Virgil on a header on a corner, because now the premise come out and said we're not going to allow all this bullshit in the box on these corners. That might open it up for him, or it could be one of our subs coming in off the bunch and making some type of impact.
I mean, I'm glad you brought it up, and I hope they actually do clean up the corner kicks this year. If they can do that, the last thing I want them to do is take the kid gloves off the goalie. Just because someone looks at him the wrong way doesn't mean it's a foul. When you're coming out between 20 bodies, you're going to get bumped.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only player allowed to use your hands. You have an advantage over everyone else. Why are you so protected? I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
I just feel like it's become a wrestling match with all this grappling and holding
Yeah.
on the corners.
Yeah.
I mean, last time I checked, you swap shirts at the end of the game, not during free kicks. But yeah, the last couple of years, I mean, there's rugby tackles happening, and it's just play on.
Yeah.
And hey, Liverpool's guilty of it too. Kanate is very handsy, but
Listen, if they give you an inch, you take a mile. Every player
absolutely.
doing it.
Yeah.
And especially as a defender, I mean, that's why we call it the dark arts. Like you're gonna stretch every rule as far as you can until they stop you.
Yep.
But
So the last note I got to mention, AJ, my boss, the founder owner of Bleacher Brothers, his Carrick Rangers. He owns a minority stake in them, first place in the table.
Nice.
Albeit only one game, but they did come back from a 3-0 deficit and won.
Mm.
wow, that must have been an exciting game to watch. Any game that's got so at least 7 goals, if not more.
It was
That's
4-3 was the final. They banged in the last 4. But to come down in any league, to come back from 3-0 down.
Most people check out at 3-0.
Yeah.
And apparently the other team did because they allowed 4 goals. But
Yeah, I don't even know who the other team was. He just sent
to have the belief in yourself to go and
bragging
get
about it. I put it in the show card for today that that we had to bring it up. I'm probably going to become an owner in them as well by the end of the month. Hey,
That's awesome.
They give you a lot of cool stuff.
That's cool.
So
That's cool.
to me, I think it's just kind of fun to be able to do, just like how this podcast is. Like, I love having you guys on to talk this stuff. It's great to always talk footy. John, you probably don't know this. I was with Henry at the Inter Red Bulls game, but I was down on the field as a media credentialed person.
Oh, that's incredible.
I've never seen Messi before in my life live.
Oh, okay. That was
And to
Oh,
be able to have that experience. So I was sitting right down below the Viking army. I had Messi 15 yards away from me. He went off 2 goals, 2 assists. And it's
yeah, I
like,
did.
he's 38 years old, dude, 37, 38. He wouldn't come off the field. Now, Henry, you and I quickly talked about it. Why in the hell they had 9 minutes of added time in the
But
second half? But that dude, like, they had
oh, that game was.
minutes in the first half, 9 minutes in the second half. It was humid as hell down on that field. That dude didn't come off the field.
dude, we were dead and buried, and they still want to give us an extra 9 minutes. I'm like, please, just stop it right
Oh
And I
yeah, maybe we could have scored 7 goals in 9 minutes and come
now.
back or something.
and I gotta tell you too, I was equally impressed with Suarez.
Oh yeah, he had a great game. Yeah, he had a great game.
Even with his knees going and he can't run the way that he used to. I mean, both of them, they're just so technical and so skillful that they don't need the physical side of it. But to your point, Matt, Messi still has the physical side
Oh,
of it at
it,
38.
yeah, he's still just the maestro, and he always knows where to be. The one thing I would say that I did not like about Suarez, and I know it's not just that night, he's giving up so many opportunities for himself to just force the ball to Messi.
Yeah,
And he did it probably 80% of the time that specific game. And I'm telling you, like when you're sitting down on the field and you're at field level and
You
it's
can
right
tell
in
it.
front of you, it's so much different than sitting in the stands, and it's definitely so much different than watching it on TV.
Oh, there are times I'll watch a game on TV and I'll put it on mute because the commentators always have an agenda. Before the game, they have their little script and the things that they want to touch on and talk about. And sometimes the game just actually doesn't go that way. So what they're trying to talk about doesn't match what's going on the field, and it takes you out of the experience. But I used to love when um, Peacock used to have the tactical cam, that overhead top view.
Mm-hmm.
I would be watching the game and I'd have the laptop with the tactical cam on, and that's why I love watching games live because, and Henry, we've been to dozens of games together at this point. But the first 10 minutes, I'm sitting there and I'm just observing. And I'll usually pick like, if it's a Messi game, I'll just watch him for the first 10 minutes. And he doesn't exert himself. He just kind of, okay, what are you doing? And he just clocks everyone. And then he builds that mental image, and then he goes, okay, time to take over. And once he does that, you can't stop him. I talk about the eye test all the time, but no player in the world has ever passed the eye test as easily as him.
The deepest he went back that night was probably 10 yards over midfield.
And that
And
was what, probably a corner on their end.
not even. And he probably only picked the ball up in the back half a handful of times. He was typically, because I really focused on him and Suarez just because Suarez history with Liverpool, their connection at Barcelona to what they're doing now. I really just wanted to focus on those two. But typically, Messi would set up shop 10 yards into the offensive half, and he would wait to pick up the ball there. And
Mm-hmm.
the ingenuity, the creativeness all came from that. And he's not necessarily looking to dribble at defenders anymore. It's more like he's looking to set up the pass, to create the next pass, to get the ball back to him on the run into the box.
Yes, and that's what I think he does better than any player in the world. It's like a really good chess player. They're 3, 4, 5 moves ahead of you. So
Mm-hmm.
he's sitting there and like you said, 10 yards into the offensive half, he receives the ball, plays a 6-yard pass out to the left, and then doesn't sprint, just floats
Yep.
over to the middle of the field. 2 passes later, he has it 20 yards from goal, takes a shot. And why? Because all the defenders followed him up. He played it out wide. They shift out wide, and he just disappears the other side. And he doesn't do anything super like it's incredible. I mean, he's the best player to ever touch a ball. You would think everyone on the field would know where he is at all times, but his ability to just get lost between the lines is, I mean, that might be even more impressive than his technical ability.
And lost is the perfect term because I'm sitting there and I'm with AJ. AJ flew up to go to the game with me. And like I'm telling AJ, I'm like, nobody's paying attention to this dude. And he's just casually strolling to the top of the box, and then he's just waiting for that second to pounce.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 assists he had that night were better than the 2 goals that he had.
His passing range and just some of the balls he sees, like you sit there, and especially when you look at not the pass when he plays it, but when he receives the ball, half the time he's not looking at where he's about to pass, but he knows that player is already on their bike doing their thing because again, his ability to just build that mental image of where everyone on the field is and then have the football IQ of, well, if I do this, you should be doing this. So I can just blind play this around the corner. I know you're going to be going. I mean, it's so much fun to watch, and I know everyone can pull up YouTube or watch a game, but when you see it in person, you truly appreciate just how different he is. I mean, he's making other professionals look amateur.
I texted my wife and my kids on our group chat. I'm like, not only did I get to see Messi play live, I got to see Messi score a goal. And then I'm like, all right, now also did I not get, like I get to die seeing Messi score a goal. Now I get to see him score 2 goals. And now I get to see him score. I have 2 assists.
Yeah.
And it was fast. That was fascinating. And then having the experience of the Viking army behind me and Jude being an absolute lunatic and leading the charge and all the singing and all the songs. I mean,
Yeah.
that was something really different too. I wasn't expecting that type of energy. I mean, now granted, it did die quickly, Henry, because of the blowout that came to be. But for the first 30 minutes, and
I'm
especially
sorry, I don't have the same sentiments as you. Sorry, I don't know. Not at all. I hated both of them. I hated the assist. I hated Suarez in that game. I hated Messi in that game. And I hated that we lost in that game. So, sorry, I don't share the same feelings with you whatsoever. You're here. I'm all the way out in another galaxy. Honestly, wish Messi got hit in the face. I wish that their goalkeeper was
Matt, you will
half-blind.
never meet a bigger Red Bull fan than Henry.
I'm
how many
sorry.
times have you seen Messi live, Henry?
A lot.
I was gonna say, what are we up to? 10?
Almost, yeah.
I know. Okay, actually, let me start doing the count here.
The Juventus game, I saw him.
3 times with Barcelona, all the
Some sort-
Miami games,
I've seen him with Argentina twice.
Argentina.
So, like,
yeah, so we got to be double digits. But
yeah, like close.
I mean, we also live at RBA at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
But, like,
I'm sorry, SIS now.
I'm planning on going to the Hudson River Derby.
Oh, that's an experience, especially.
And I'll be down on the field for that too.
yeah, so that one is gonna be that one. I think you'll feel the hatred right there. You'll feel the hatred when it's certain teams like DC United, Philly, which is this Saturday.
New England.
Yep, and New England for sure. Oh God, we hate going there. At least we know insults here in New Jersey, New York.
If I
can
get
stay
called a
up there.
pink cow ever
They
again,
call us the pink cows. I was like, dude, you gotta try better than that, please.
I gotta tell you, and like shout out to the Red Bulls, man, because they were top class in how they handle the media. The lady gave us her cell phone number. At first, she was like, "Look, there's so many people that want to be credentialed for this game. I can only get one of you down on the field." She came back to us, and I forget the poor girl's name. I want to give her a shout out. She came back to us within like 4 hours, and she was like, "Look, I'm going to get you both down on the field. I checked in on this Bleacher Brothers and what you guys are doing and what you're building." And one of you will be the photographer, one of you will be the videographer. Food, drinks, cover
Yeah.
parking. I can't wait to go back and do more of this media coverage.
I will say, I mean, I'm sure you will hear me express a lot of frustrations with Red Bulls for their on the pitch performance, but as far as an organization and the way that they've worked with us and taken care of us and given us access as fans, I can't speak highly enough about the New York Red Bulls. Um, and then, I mean, we talked to Chupi, who, is the leader of the Viking Army. What they allow him to do and set up and work with him to, again, create that atmosphere.
Yeah,
Love it.
Henry and I are trying to get him on the show. I definitely want to
Oh,
have.
that would be that you might want to extend the show for that one because you want to talk about bringing the energy. Chupi he's a good time, and
He's one.
man, he loves his Red Bulls.
He does. He's one of the Godfathers. So like, he's the OG. He's that dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's that guy. So he's definitely someone who knows
Oh, and
so
dude,
much.
so he was down with me.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
that's the spot.
Right?
That's usually a spot.
He was so pissed off at how the energy level from
Yes.
the army went down.
Yeah, he came up. He came back into the stands because he does that. He does that. You never been on a bus with him, so just understand if you
Ooh, Philly
have that
trips.
poor attitude on a bus ride, trust me, he'll turn around real quick because he's gonna make you. And he's one of those dudes. He wants to
If
make
you
sure we're all
if
taken
you're
care
not
of.
in and you're not having fun on the bus ride, he will make you stand up in front of everyone and start dancing and leading chants.
Yeah, he's definitely that
He is
guy.
he's so much fun, and again, the energy he brings, he's electric, and I mean, the entire Viking army would take a bullet for the man. I mean,
Yeah.
what he's given us as a supporter group and helped create is incredible. I really hope you get a chance to have him on the show and talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, and AJ and I were at the tailgate for a good hour or so. We were hanging out with Jude for a little bit. We were hanging out with Henry and Wilson. So it was a good time, man. I had a blast. The only thing I could say I hated about the entire day was how long it took us to get out of Harrison.
Don't park at RBA.
Nope.
Nope, you don't park at RBA. I'm sorry, you park in Newark. You park
Yep.
downtown.
Park in Newark
Yeah,
at
you told me. So
over by the park and walk over.
whether I get the comp parking or not, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
No,
It's
dude,
not
it's that
worth it.
there's. I mean, all the lots go to the one street, and even with the cops directing traffic, you have two outlets, and
If we do,
one of them going over the bridge leads directly to a light, so you're blocked off anyway.
Well, we were in the garage and we were on the third floor. We literally were out of the garage in 5 minutes. But it was from the garage to get to the turnpike that took about 75 minutes.
yep,
Ooh,
Matt.
yeah.
They had
Matt,
us cutting through some random parking lot between two streets to ease the congestion.
Yep.
Matt,
Whereas
if
if
you're
you
gonna
park over in Newark, you're out of there in 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah, literally
Yeah,
10 minutes.
it's a 10, 15-minute walk to the stadium, but you save an hour in the car.
Yeah, you literally do.
Lesson learned. Because, dude, the last time I was there, that parking garage didn't even exist.
No, it's the old factory buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all those. Yeah, and Matt, if you're gonna stay, you go park there. You bring your cooler and a soccer ball. That's what you bring if you're gonna park at RBA because you're not leaving right away.
Yeah.
Me and John have
Game
done
at-
that for a few games, and we always brought a ball. Always.
Game ends at 9. We'll start worrying about getting to the car before 10:30 because then we can actually get out of there.
Well, dude, that game didn't end until 10 o'clock.
Yep.
And then I had to drive AJ to his hotel.
Yep.
So I didn't get back down here to Point until quarter after midnight, 12:30. And I left here at noon
Yeah,
to
that's a
pick
long
AJ
day.
up in Newark at 1.
That's a long day, my man.
And, dude, he flew in just for the game. So he flew in, he landed at 1 o'clock on Saturday and then flew out the next day at 10. And keep in mind, he was up here Monday and Tuesday that week with his wife for her annual checkup out at Penn.
Mhm.
And then he flew back up on Wednesday to do this dyno bike tour. in Brick that Saturday. So within 2 weeks, he flew up here 3 times from Florida.
Man, I thought I traveled a lot.
Yeah, but it was such an experience. It was so cool. It was the best way to see Messi. The only thing I got pissed off about is the other side, Henry, from where you guys sit. They only let the media credential people from there go over to the benches to take the photos in the videos of the starting 11 from each team.
Yeah.
And the girl came over to us on our end and was like, "Yeah, it's time to go over." And then some security guard is like, "No, you can't go," because I wanted to get that shot. I really wanted to get that shot, and they didn't. For whatever reason, they didn't let our end go.
Oh,
Interesting.
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, at least you enjoyed the view and you had a good one.
When we get off air, I'll send you guys this picture that I took of Messi. That's
What me and John learned about RBA, there's no bad seat in there. Not a single place is a bad
No,
seat.
I love the Viking Army and being behind the goal, but we've watched a couple games from the second level, and again, like Henry's saying, not a bad seat in the house.
yeah. I remember years ago we went to see Seattle and we were in the upper bowl, and it was fantastic. I kind of like that view of looking down.
That's
But
how they designed it.
But let me ask you guys this, because you guys are there a ton. What I noticed that night is, again, on the opposite end, up to the right of the big Jumbotron, there was an entire section that was empty.
Did they have the blue tarp on it?
It didn't have a tarp on it, but there was like, I want to say 8 to 10 rows, like in not that corner spot, but the spot right next to it, completely empty.
Oh, those probably could have been like actually like those tickets that they give out to like people to like here. I know like dealerships have those tickets and stuff like that. So a lot of those seats are reserved for some of those fans, like a lot of that stuff.
Even though they're like the last 8 to 10 rows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that's
some of
why I
them,
was
yeah.
wondering. I know sometimes they sell that as like sponsorship area where someone you get the cover for the seats and you can pay to have your company logo or something. So that's why I was wondering if they had one of those there. But no, especially for an Inter Miami game, that would.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another couple $1,000s. That's an RB2 player for us.
Yeah, I want to say it was probably like 40 to 50 seats.
Yeah, they probably were like honestly some of
Yeah,
the
that had to be some type of like giveaway to a school or something like that, and they just wanted to get them.
The last thing I will say before we end this is when Messi scored that first goal, I could not believe the way the stadium erupted.
I had different choice of words to say during that time. So
There were a lot of emotions, regardless of what side you were on. But yeah,
so you might have saw
RBA
elation.
Like
Yeah,
I wasn't shocked at the amount of Messi jerseys I saw, and it was great to see Argentina, Barca, PSG, even and Inter. Like that didn't shock me at all. I figured that 70% of the people that were at that game were going to be in a Messi kit.
they were in the wrong seats. They were supposed to be in the water. That's not where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be in that river right over there. Yeah, I don't like any of that stuff there. None of it. None of it.
as long as they're having fun,
Let me
bringing.
enjoy my first
not
time
only-
experience of seeing Messi live. Like
That's
John
a
said,
pretty
he
great way.
is the greatest player to ever play.
Yeah, but he's in my church, and I don't want him in my church. Like, so you can have that.
Yeah, beat up on the rest of the league, not on us.
You're saying the spot behind me is not your church?
One day when I go there, yeah. But my church is RBA. That was introduced me to footy, so that will always be my church right there.
Well,
Think about this: we go to RBA for church. Eventually, you got to take a trip to the Vatican, and that's what
There you go.
Midfield is.
That's what that'll be. Yeah.
listen, let's start planning one.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
definitely an agenda on the books, man. Especially
Like,
if you are.
That would be great. If we could do a podcast from Liverpool, would be.
Well,
Wow.
AJ and I are talking about this of planning a trip, doing Carrick, doing Wrexham, and as you just called it, the Vatican. And we want to do a podcast from each spot.
That would be pretty awesome. I know Henry and I have talked about our dream trip is to fly over and do Dublin, Liverpool, Glasgow, and see a game in each city. That is when the when the girlfriend gives me permission to empty my bank account. That's what I will be doing.
Well, hey, if we can get the podcast numbers up more and more each week,
Absolutely.
this
That would be fun.
This could be a company paid trip.
That would be fun.
I like the way you think.
All right, boys. Thank you for the time.
Of course.
Everybody else, follow us on X, follow us on Instagram, go to Bleacher Brothers Network to get all your betting advice. I don't know if you guys bet at all, but Bleacher Brothers is huge into giving betting advice, and they've been nailing it on footy. They've learned the whole tactics of getting the footy down, and they're killing it on there. But everybody, go there if you want to get your betting advice and place your bets. We'll see you all next week. Boys, I'll talk to you later.
That's good.
Have a
Thanks.
good one.